name is Archit, and I'm a developer at Shine Solutions. And today I'm going to be talking to you about my experiences working at an enterprise infrastructure team. So a little bit about myself. I'm a junior dev. I only graduated the year before last. Thank you. Yeah, very proud. I didn't even graduate with a degree in computer science. I actually did maths. So I'm not like a developer, just like basic concepts. I work at Shine Solutions, which is a mid-sized consulting company. We are AWS and GCP partners as well. And I'm mainly a front-end developer. I just have interest in JavaScript, if you can believe it. Though ever since I graduated, I think I've been coming to these meetups, and I actually kind of got interested in the whole infrastructure and cloud space. I also have a special interest in IoT, so like cloud devices and stuff. If you're into that, yeah, please do come talk to me. Always love meeting fellow IoT enthusiasts. Cool. So Shine has quite a few enterprise clients, and I'm actually placed at one of them. I'm not at liberty to tell you which one because they've forbidden me to say that, but it's a pretty large retailer, and I work in the digital team of this enterprise, and the service that I build is used by approximately 500,000 customers. So it's a pretty large application, and to kind of give you an idea of what sort of team is responsible for this, there are 7 delivery or dev teams, and they're kind of supported by one infrastructure or DevOps team. Now, by itself, that's kind of the pattern that many enterprises have, or like even startups have. It was certainly the case with my last company, and inherently that's not really a problem. But the problem kind of arises with when you add in the word enterprise infrastructure. That's kind of really complicated, and when you're working in a very fast-paced environment, such as the one in my clients, issues do crop up, inevitably. And I personally was very reliant on that one DevOps team to fix my bugs, which come up during deploy. And I thought I had very limited self-service capabilities. So I could build the application, but when it came to deploying it, I could do that as well because there was some capabilities. But then if something went wrong, I had no idea how to diagnose the problem and eventually fix it. So this problem was not just something that I had personally. It was kind of evident across all the 7 dev teams. We did have several people who had that knowledge, but again, they were also involved in their own tasks. So some of the site leads got together, and some of the technical principal engineers got together, and they came up with the idea of rotating people through that DevOps team. So what I mean by rotations is did very short internship style work that was given to them, approximately 2 to 3 months based on the person's interest. And it came up mid last year approximately, and as soon as they gave this opportunity, I raised my hand, and I was lucky enough to be chosen for that opportunity, and I was the first person to do this, which is kind of surprising because I'm just a graduate developer. Before joining this team, I had very limited experience with anything that's related to cloud. The best thing I've done is write a PowerShell script, and that's all I'd ever done. So it was kind of refreshing joining this team, new team members, and lots of really, really smart people. So that kind of made my imposter syndrome a bit worse, but I was really excited for that opportunity. So I got to work on 2 major projects while I was there in those 3 months. But I didn't immediately start off working on those projects. So day one, I come in, I'm not given these heavy tasks that would contribute to the team. I'm told that you're given access to this new Git repository, just go through it, read the documentations, and I spent approximately 2 weeks just doing that. I went through our wikis, I looked at the tools that we use. So at our clients, we are primarily an AWS service, so I was just going through AWS documentation, some of the tools that we use like Scepter, and so I just kind of made myself familiar with those. Now, the first project one of the first projects that I worked on was using AWS System Manager Parameter Store to encrypt our plain text passwords and secrets. So what we would do is use this service provided by AWS to remove all evidence of we ever had any text passwords, which is always a good idea. And we would kind of inject these during deploy time. It was originally only meant for our Spring application, so we have a Spring application stack, but we kind of made it even more mature, and now it can work for, it's kind of framework agnostic, so it can work across any framework. And I thought this was a really cool project because it was technically challenging, sure, because I don't like writing Bash and I had to write Bash for this, but because it was something that had to be adopted by all the dev teams, I had to do a lot of project management, and that's not something that you typically see in, like, you don't expect a junior developer who's, kind of shy and introverted to be able to talk to 25 plus developers and asking them to remove their text passwords. So yeah, it was a pretty cool experience from that perspective. And then the next major project that I did was creating this redirection stack, which does Apex domain redirection. So if you're not familiar with that term, all it does is if you have a domain like example.com, you redirect it to example.com. So it's not a very complex task by itself, but what I really liked about this opportunity was that I think for a day or so I was given the opportunity to explore different options on how best to do it. And then I came across that link, which is down there below. It's an Amazon blog link, which talks about how to get like static IP addresses, I think, with NLB, which I thought was a nifty solution and could be applied in our scenario. So I kind of went ahead and had my first experience with CloudFormation, wrote my first Lambda application, and deployed it. And it was quite a challenging experience, but it was a lot of fun. Something that kind of really awestruck me was that I wrote this Lambda function, and I asked my mentor, how often should I make this run? How often should this invocation be? So this Lambda, all it does is it kind of glues together the NLB and the ALB, and how often should I run it? He's like, just run it once per minute. And I was kind of like, oh, that sounds like a lot, because that's almost 500,000 invocations a month. And I thought, wouldn't that be too expensive? And then in that meeting itself, he opens up the cost estimator, and he shows me that it's only 30 cents a month. And he said that the human cost of doing this was more expensive than probably for 2 or 3 years than our client would ever experience. So I thought that was just just astonishing. And maybe for you guys it's not, you guys know Lambdas are cheap, but I didn't. And I thought, oh, that's super cool. So yeah, so I thought these projects by itself, so these are 2 major projects that I worked on, and they by itself took up most of my time. But after that, I actually worked, apart from this, in between tasks and when I got bored, I had lots of other miscellaneous tasks that I could do. So whether it was updating documentations, supporting the other dev teams, so that's one of the roles of the DevOps teams. And this was something that I kind of didn't expect, because usually when I'm a developer, I'm given one task, I complete it, and then I move on. But it's in the infrastructure team, you have to wait for a lot of approvals, and that's kind of expected because it's quite a high-stake team. So that was kind of refreshing, because I like to usually focus on one thing, but it kind of challenged me to do a bit of multitasking, and kind of love doing that. It's very different from what I'm used to. So the projects were, of course, really great, but it did kind of add, there were several other non-technical aspects that our team adopted, and it kind of benefited them. So the first one was that we became more agile. We had to adopt all these agile practices, such as, you've got a new junior coming on into your team, and we should probably do some more code reviews and pair programming. So usually that's kind of unheard of maybe in infrastructure teams, that at least as of what I was seeing, they used to commit directly to master, but every change that I used to make. So master was locked down, I'm making PRs and getting code reviewed. And if I faced any roadblock, I could easily just request for pair programming, and we would work through the solution together. So that this is still adopted now. The team has grown larger, so it's really great that when I came in, they were adopting code review practices. Likewise, so when you are a junior coming into the team, nothing makes sense, and you want to be able to make sense without having to tap on people's shoulders. So documentation was kind of something that when I came in, I'm looking into all this complex code, nothing of it making sense, but I start to decipher it slowly. I'm updating READMEs, I'm updating wikis, and a fair part of my time actually went towards that. When I'm bored, I'm pretty much just updating documentation. Sort of an unintended consequence of this was that it obviously helps with onboarding people into the team, but I think it also made our team more like transparent and visible to the business. So we are obviously responsible as a consulting group to our client, and they want to see the work. These business people might not be very familiar with the technologies, so as a junior person, I usually try to write it in the most simple language that's possible. So it was really great. I think it gave more confidence to our stakeholders from that perspective. And our ultimate goal, of course, was to promote knowledge sharing. So when I go back to my original dev team, as a front-end developer, I bring along this wealth of knowledge that I've gained while I'm working in this DevOps team. So this kind of cross-pollination of domain knowledge from DevOps team to my original delivery team was quite successful, because now I am an advocate in my team for establishing proper CI processes, saying that we should not compromise on security. And all our estimations have kind of now changed to consider all of these facts. This was previously not something we used to do. We did consider security, was always one of our priorities, but now I think it's kind of being considered even more, saying that in our estimation sessions, always say that, you know, we're not deploying any code until we've crossed all the OWASP vulnerabilities. And I think our CI processes now also include all those checks. Cool. So the team itself has obviously received a lot of benefits from a soft skills perspective, but I personally also, I think, in those 3 months, learned heaps, needless to say. But there were also like some more unintended consequences, I suppose. So the first one was that I actually had never, as a front-end developer, I had never even considered studying and sitting for those certs. But I thought that I could do the challenge. And that sort of motivation only comes in when you've actually done that sort of hands-on experience. And so if you are actually one of those partners and you're looking to get people into this, then rotating people through the DevOps team or infrastructure team is a great way to encourage people. Likewise, so as I said, my role in my dev team kind of evolved really. It was not just simple, like we build the application, now we take it all the way to the end. How do we deploy the application in a way which is like sort of in the long term helps us reduce our maintenance costs. And so yeah, I'm really glad for that opportunity from that perspective that, I'm not usually in the estimation session, I'm just like a developer, but now I actually have a more active and like professional role, let's say. But I think like the most important lesson that I learned was that DevOps is a mentality. People throw this phrase around a lot, but it's kind of difficult to understand what it means if you just say DevOps is a mentality. And I think when I became part of this team, I kind of truly understood like these silos of development and operations, and how as a developer I can dissolve them. So usually my previous understanding was just that, okay, as a developer you should also know how to use terminal, because that's what I thought it meant, but it's so much more than that. It's actually about collaboration, it's about trust, it's about communication. And I think this is something that I really struggled with, because at university I just learned, okay, this is how an application runs, but you don't learn how to like properly sit with another person and work through problems. And that's something that I kind of only learned when I came and joined in this team. So I think there were lots of things that our team kind of did really well in making the most out of this practice. And I think the first one was that managing expectations. So of course my site leads knew that I'm a junior developer, I don't have a lot of experience, but I don't think that would have made a difference even if a senior software engineer who was kind of keen to try out this cloud space, I don't think that would have made a difference, because coming in I was told that you'll get as much training and support as you need, and your 3 months will only kind of commence once you're actually a contributing member. So that was kind of really good to have. I didn't have that pressure of delivering. And that's kind of really rare when you're working in like a consulting company. Likewise, as I said before, code reviews and peer programming, we kind of established that we have to do this out of necessity. And doing that early on made sure that I didn't make many mistakes. And then I was given a 2-week notice. So before I was told, okay, you'll be moved from your dev team to this DevOps team, they said, okay, here's a bunch of resources that you can make use of. They didn't say that you have to do it, but if you get time, make sure that you go through some Pluralsight, Cloud Guru videos. And that kind of really assisted me because I knew what I was working with when I came in. There were no surprises. And I knew that, like, best of all, that I would be given lots of support while I'm working through it. Cool. So, as I said, I was given lots of training resources, but I think what my mentor first told me above everything else is even if you don't have a lot of technical knowledge, just keep some like soft things in consideration. Like keep these few qualities that I'm telling you about in mind while you're working through these next 3 months. So the first one was ask lots of questions. I think as a junior developer, I already do that, but I remember in the first meeting that we had a kickoff, and we're just going through the infrastructure of like an overview of the entire infrastructure of our team, which is quite complex. And somebody says that we have a jump host, and I'm like, what is a jump host? And the best part of it was, it does seem very ignorant in retrospect that people actually sat down and explained me what a jump host does. So that was kind of really cool. And I was really glad that I asked that question because now I kind of know what it is. Training. So yeah, as I said, I was given lots of resources on what are the best, how I can make the most out of it. And I did look at lots of those videos, but another like really useful thing, I think it can't be underestimated, is these AWS workshops, which I think is run by Simon, and even coming to these meetups, it's like amazing because not just because of the content of these workshops or these meetups, but also because of the people you meet, and they themselves impart a lot of knowledge to you. So that's, again, if you haven't been to one of these, I would definitely recommend spending some time in the evening and coming along. And communication. So this one was kind of, I don't know, I think at first I didn't realize how important this is because, as a developer, I communicate. That's obvious. But what I kind of understood while I was working in the team is that the stakes are much, much higher when you're in an infrastructure team. In a dev team, if I screw something up and it goes to prod, then it's affecting a very small application, part of a very small application. But if something goes wrong in infrastructure, of course you have angry customers, but you also have angry developers, which is much worse. So be transparent is what essentially was the lesson there. And making mistakes. So I was given this kind of like safety net saying, okay, you can make hundreds of mistakes. Yeah, and I didn't make that many mistakes, just for posterity, but then it was good to have that sort of safety net saying, okay, you can make mistakes, and obviously I was trying everything out on a not prod environment, so there was no impact to real customers. But making mistakes is not bad. I think as someone who has a lot of imposter syndrome and uncertainties in how I want to shape my career, I'm always very, very hesitant to make mistakes. But the fact that at the very, not even at the very start, 2 weeks before I start, I'm told make mistakes, that's kind of reassuring, and that kind of allows me to take risks, and I don't know, it just gives you a lot of confidence in your team, seeing that you've got someone to rely on. So with that, you pretty much come to the conclusion of my experience. If anybody faces a similar problem of, kind of supporting your dev teams a lot, and you kind of see this pattern a lot, it was certainly the case in my previous company as well, but they never considered a similar approach. You should definitely kind of adopt this. I would definitely recommend it, not just for your own team, but even the person who has this opportunity, he'll benefit a lot from it. I do have 2 plugs before I go. I work with Coder Melbourne with a couple of friends. We run an Inspire 9, which is a similar co-working space in Richmond. It's also supported by Shine Solutions. And the kids who come in there, especially the older kids, a lot of them are interested in cloud and the IoT. So kids like Archit and his friend over there, they actually built a really cool Raspberry Pi robot, which has a camera on top of it, and it uses a Google Cloud Vision API to detect things. It was very heavily publicized, and they actually went to DojoCon in Perth last year for it. It's a really cool project, and we're looking for people always to kind of come in and do some demos and or volunteer. But even if you have kids between the age of 7 and 13 and you want to introduce them to coding, this is a great place to do that. You meet lots of great people, and you give back to the community, which I think is probably the best part of it. And you learn a lot if that's something that you're kind of into. And yeah, I think we didn't say this during the marketplace, but Shine is looking for people. We're looking for front-end developers, DevOps engineers, mid to senior, and graduate developers. So I joined in as a graduate developer last year, and if you've recently graduated or are currently studying, I can personally vouch that it's a great program. You get paired with a mentor, you get paid to learn, which I think is amazing. So yeah, either send us an email on that link or come and talk to any of the Shiners that are present here. I think there are 3 of us present. So yeah, with that I conclude my presentation. If you have any questions or feedback, please let me know. And there's also my email if you want to get in touch outside of this. Cool, thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah, it's a very topic, so. Oh, cool.
Yeah, awesome. Out of all the things that you mentioned, so I was in a similar position as you like a few years back. What was your biggest obstacle, the biggest hurdle that you had to tackle? Like you mentioned, you were feeling that imposter syndrome all the time.
Yeah.
All the other things. So can you just pinpoint one of those things and share it with us? Thanks.
Yeah. I would say, yeah, like definitely dealing with the imposter syndrome thing was like you're working with all these really, really smart, accomplished people in your team, and you're like, and they're all very senior engineers, and you're like not even a mid engineer, like a junior developer. So dealing with imposter syndrome was super difficult. And I still struggle with that. I think most people in my position do. Like a lot of my friends also struggle with that sort of thing. You think that you don't know anything, and all these people seem to know everything. So I think that was my position, especially because the field of cloud like is so complex. Like in the previous talk, I could understand some of the words, but honestly, most of it went whoosh. And but it's great because I think last year this time I would have not understood even that 10%. So I can see that I've come a long way in understanding that. So that's kind of helping me with dealing with the imposter syndrome, saying that it's not. I'm not going to become an accomplished software engineer tomorrow. It's more of a journey. So yeah, I mean, I think that was really cool. So yeah, and obviously having that safety net saying you can make as many mistakes as you want was pretty cool. And which is why I love my company. And yeah, so yeah, cool. That answers your question. But yeah, any other questions? Yeah.
So how long have you been with your current employer for?
Current client?
Yep, current employer.
Current employer.
Sure.
Just over a year. Yeah, a year and 6 weeks-ish.
Just wondering if you go back, would you join a consulting company or would you go and join a product or a service company?
I think both have. So I used to work in a product company before, and it has its own merits, the product company. But one of the things was in a consulting company. Right now, I have the option of dealing with lots of clients. They have like very diverse stacks. And so right now, given my experience with my infrastructure in this company, I can easily join all the other clients which have similar stacks. And that's something that's very difficult to do in product company. If I want to join another client, I just have to go talk to my site leader and tell them, okay, I want to be placed on another client which has similar technology. This is what I'm interested in. Whereas if I was in a product company, I'm kind of fixated on with a similar stack. And if I want to look for something more, I just have to start the tedious process of job hunting, which nobody enjoys. So yeah, in retrospect, I think I made the right decision, especially someone at my level, because you want to experience as much as you can. But maybe, I don't know, down the road, a product company could be something I'm looking for. But as of now, yeah, I'm really glad I made that decision of consulting company. Cool. Thank you.